This is the Provo River in Utah. It's in the fall. My friend Greg is fishing here. Notice he's moving the fly. Sometimes you move a dry fly. This now, do you think he's searching the water? I don't think so. He has a definite purpose in mind because the blue-wing olives are hatching. Now they're tiny things, tiny little mayflies, but the trout are really coming up for them. There's so many of the little mayflies that it's difficult to catch the fish because you have to cast it repeatedly until you get a good drift right over the fish. Need to be a natural drift. There's so many trout coming up and they come up so often because the flies are tiny and there are lots of them. They've got to come up often to get enough to eat. This is tough fishing. And we caught a lot of fish this day, but what I want to show you is the fact that it takes quite a bit of effort and continual casting and so forth to get a rhythm of it. Now these little things, they're not very big, but well, look at it on the hand there. They're tiny. They'd be like a size 24 fly, to match them. This is a pool in the middle Provo in Utah. It's full of fish. You notice that the line is going over the fish. They don't. In this particular oh, he missed one. In this particular situation, they're so busy taking those flies, and they're so used to fishermen that they ignore the fly line in a situation like this. Now, really wild fish back in the mountain somewhere, if they see the fly line or a shadow, they're gone. But these fish, they have to feed, and so they ignore the fishermen somewhat. Greg keeps casting. It probably takes. It just depends, if things are perfect, you might get one every 5 or 10 casts, but sometimes you have to cast a lot more than that because it's a tiny fly. They're not going to chase over to find it. So he keeps looking. They're coming up. They're taking the adults. In this particular case, they're taking the adults. That's what we call duns. Now, a lot of times they're taking the emergers, but in this case, they're taking the adults because there's a lot of the adults. So Greg's working on them. Nice, little short casts, and when the drift is right, then you get one like that. Got to play them easy. These are tiny hooks, and if you play them too hard, the hook pulls out. Now sometimes you get, as luck would have it, you hook them in the corner of the mouth, and that hook is not going to come out. But then you're using a fairly light leader, you might break them off. But most of the fish that you lose this way, if you're not careful, is from pulling the hook out, because the hooks are tiny. You have to play them carefully. It took longer to land this fish than we're showing, but yeah, Greg got him. It's a brown trout. It's a wild brown trout, maybe 14, 15 inches long. Maybe even 16, I'm not sure. I didn't measure that fish.